1,048 Adages of Imam Ali in Noble Manners. 233. The fix of religion is asceticism. 234. He who gives favors shall be served. 235. Doing the good deeds is a virtue for the human being. 236. He who shall be victorious to the truth shall win. 237. The extreme of good manners, that is altruism. 238. He who dealt with others in a passionate way shall win. 239. The title of nobility is to deal with people by good deeds. 240. He who works with the truth is a survival. Now, there could be some associations that people have with that aren't quite right, because a survival is where our term superstition comes from. And we're not talking about Egypt here. We're talking about how everything stops when you die, except like a continual charity, according to truth. Truth that you've put out there that, has been learned. And truth that, is being repeated on your behalf. 241. In keeping the kinship lies the guardian of favors. 242. He who accepted destiny shall have a relief. 243. The determination to do the goodness turns off the fire of evil. 244. He who asks shall gain the benefit. 245. Live along with people of virtues, and you shall be happy and noble. 246. He who becomes generous shall conquer. 247. The title of mindfulness is to care about people. 248. Who uses the truth as a clue, he shall feel the coldness. Coldness is a figurative speech referring to the effect of happiness when it comes to the heart. Well, that might not just be a metaphor, because one of the feelings that can come with analgesia or anesthesia is a coolness. Now, if it's cold outside, it might be a warmness, and by those feelings, I mean, there's a natural way to have them without drugs. 249. The purpose of the struggle, jihad, is that one should fight himself against lusts. As we've said here, jihad is a struggle, striving. It's doing something when it's not the easiest thing. It doesn't translate as holy war. The Islamic context is you're not allowed to fight for conversions. You're not allowed to fight to extend borders or gain resources or enslave people or any of that stuff. So, none of those stereotypes on the television, right? 250. He who becomes patient shall get what he desires. 251. In surrendering to Allah lies the faith. Because remember, in this age, the surrender or the submission is the name for religion, and that, of course, implies to God. In the Bible, there's a lot of endings with a K sound, and that means things are basically the same thing. Things are it's in the hand. It's according to the terms. It's mistranslated as you because in post-Arabic Hebrew, that's what people have, But faith is not just a claim, it's, to actually surrender to God. 252. He who depended on Allah shall never care. 253. In giving thanks for the favors these favors shall last. 254. He who advised you rescued you. 255. In generosity lies the loveliness. 256. He who mentions Allah shall mention him. 257. In every good deed lies a reward. 258. He who struggles against himself completed his own piety. 259. The keeper of a secret is loyal and a trustee. 260. Who works with the truth shall succeed. 261. Blessedness is for him who watches his God and feared his sin. 262. He who judges himself shall win. 263. Consult those of the mind, and ye shall be safe from mistakes. 264. Who protected himself against sins shall be respected. 265. You should give thanks to Allah, whether in adversity or good time. 266. He who disobeyed the lust of himself, he mended it himself. 267. The mend of the soul is to struggle against the lust. 268. He who becomes patient, his adversity shall become low. 269. The honor of the man is his justice, and his beauty is his nobility. 270. He who repents, then depended on Allah. 271. Blessedness is for him who keeps the obedience of his God. 272. Who regretted, then he had repented. 273. The reason for loveliness is generosity. 274. He who knows life shall abstain from it. 275. The mend of religion, faith, is by the true believing. 276. He who takes refuge unto Allah, he shall rescue him. 277. The reason for loveliness is loyalty. 278. Who depended on Allah, he shall make him satisfied. 279. You should be calm, for it is the best ornament. 280. He who spends his money in goodness shall enslave. I think it's supposed to be who spends his money shall serve. Oh, so you're supposed to serve with your money. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do things you want, but certainly you're going to connect it to what you should or shouldn't be doing, right? 281. The honor of the faithful is his faith, and his glory is his obedience. 282. He who spends his fortune in goodness shall be thanked. 283. The lords of heaven are the pious and the faithful. 284. He who takes patience, his adversity shall come low. 285. Do the charities, and then you shall be safe from the lewdness of parsimony. 286. He who takes parsimony for his religion shall be exalted, meaning he who holds tight on his religion, not for money, should be exalted. 287. Be peaceful with people, and your life shall be safe. What's that song? Peace sells, but who's buying? Well, doesn't matter if it's the right thing, you do the right thing. 288. Who works rightly shall gain. 289. Blessedness shall be for him who made his heart feel the faith. 290. He who knew himself correctly knew his God. 291. The ladder of nobility is humility and generosity. 292. He who had been good to his neighbors, his servants shall be abundant. 293. Over truth and sincerity, faith shall be built. 294. Charity is a successful cure. 295. He who keeps away from people, his faith shall be mended. 296. The reason for fixing the religion is piety. 297. He who gains the kindness, his recklessness shall be put down. 298. Blessedness for him is for him who kept the way of obedience, for his God. 299. He who got satisfied with destiny shall live blessed. 300. Two things the reward are which the rewards cannot be weighed: forgiveness and justice. 301. Be kind, for it is a manner that is accepted. 302. He who left his matters to Allah shall succeed. 303. Be peaceful with people, and ye shall be in peace, and work for the afterlife, and you shall win. 304. He who was guided by the guidance of Allah shall be guided by Allah. There's some passages that are kind of translated in a way that it doesn't sound right, because God's always guiding, but there's two things. There's the verb form of the whole thing. So they can make a choice to not take in that guidance, to not live that guidance. But there's also the aspect of somebody that is guided to a certain degree is given opportunity to be guided to a further degree. 305. The reason behind a good faith is piety. 306. He who loaned Allah, did the good for the sake of Allah, shall be rewarded by him. 307. Blessedness is for him whose tongue was busy with the mention of Allah. 308. He who asks Allah, he shall give him what he asks. 309. The reason behind respect is kindness. 310. He who keeps himself away from begging shall be exalted. 311. You should be addicted to work in time of activity or laziness. 312. The peaceful living lies in taking care of people. 313. He who keeps his promises shall be a loyal one. 314. Two things are part of religion: faith, truth, and belief. 315. He who owns his own lusts shall be pious. The stereotypical shadow is, stuff you don't want to deal with. But actually, the shadow is just what you don't know about. But the shadow can be a problem if you start denying things about yourself. Oh, I don't desire this, I didn't like this, etc., etc. It's about what you believe about the behaviors. It's what you do as behaviors, not your impulses. 316. The reason behind authority is generosity. 317. He who owns his own anger shall be kind. 318. Blessedness is for him who raced over his fate and did his work with sincerity. 319. He who owned his mind is a wise man. 320. The reason behind the goodness of the self is piety. 321. He who asks when he is young shall answer when he is old. 322. Be sincere, for it is the best of the faith. 323. He who kept away from people protected his faith. 324. He who has the good manners shall have the wide fortune. 325. Blessedness is for him who fears Allah and remains safe. 326. The law of the generous is to keep their promise. 327. He whose interior was good, his apparent part shall be good. 328. The thanksgiving of the believer appears in his works. Now, thanksgiving, we're not referring to Eucharist with the implications that people have with Eucharist, whether it's a Gnostic or a Christian thing, but certainly you show gratitude to the creation, and that's showing gratitude to God. But it's better to invoke gratitude than to say thank you to people. Ask for them to be rewarded for better. 329. The weapon of the believer is praying for forgiveness. 330. He who gets exaltation from Allah, no ruler can put him down. 331. According to the level of the nobility comes the level of generosity. 332, the worship becomes fixed by depending on Allah. 333, he who takes refuge unto Allah, no ruler can hurt him. Now, I don't remember offhand all 4 ways in which this is said in the Quran. There's some other ones in the Hadith, like A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. In Surah 16, we have Fasta'idh billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And that's preceded by وَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. So when you're to read or recite the Quran, you seek refuge with God. You know, the singular and definitive term for God is being used. You know, from Satan the stoned, and stoned is in rejected, and there's similar sayings